Remember when you were young and you always had that one favorite dish from your mom that she would make like pretty much once a quarter, maybe if you got good grades, you know, like the S in satisfactory or something like that. It just made you feel good. Like it was butter noodles with hamburger meat, like a sandwich style thing, or maybe it was like your favorite tacos, you know, and pretty much it was the bomb. And it will remain the second best thing I probably eat for the rest of my life, short next to R-A-M-A-N. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that sort of feeling exists in the car world. A car that has always been there as one of the favorites of the car scene. A car that, just like its brother, the Civic, is just a car you can look at and say, I wouldn't mind throwing one of those right on the ground. You know, just put her right on the doozies and call her good, okay? I'm Alex @FI on Instagram, and today, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna be talking about one of the most influential tuner cars of the late 20th century. A car that was and has continued to be a car that will never let you down because it's a Honda, all right? And will pretty much always be in style because it's also a Honda, and they just kind of did that really well, all right? Today, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna be sitting down and talking about you wanting to own a Honda Prelude. And if this is the first time watching one of our videos, hi! There, this is a wave thing. It's decoded as the wave thing. It's really uncomfortable. Alright, okay, go. Yeah. But don't forget to subscribe so we can keep making banging videos like this. And if you're looking for aftermarket wheels, tires, or suspension for your newly acquired Honda Prelude or any other car that you could possibly have out there, be sure to hit us up over at fitmentindustries.com. And if you're looking to get entered in to win a free set of ESR multi-piece forged wheels, there's going to be a description link below. You can pick up one of these t-shirts, a windbreaker, or a sweatshirt. Every $5 gets you automatically entered in to win. The description link will be below. The Honda Prelude was introduced way back in 1978 and stayed alive until 2001. And originally based off the Honda Accord, the Prelude was to be the competitor of the Toyota Celica, the Silvia, a little bit of an interesting one that one is, and the Mitsubishi Eclipse, which is also a little bit interesting, seeing that Prelude was a name that was actually owned by Toyota, which they had to give rights to Honda to even use. Something about having like starstruck names or something like that. I mean, I guess. The first generation of the Honda Prelude was received fairly well. It was stylized ahead of its time and featured a sunroof, which was powered, okay? Ain't none of that crank peasant going on in the Prelude, okay? This thing was powered as standard equipment, no less, which would eventually become the Prelude trademark with the iconic styling of the long nose, the swooping down hood, okay? You had the tapered rear windows, the sharp lines, the doors that, like, as you closed, you pretty much caused an earthquake, and a short rear quarter panel. I mean, it was pretty much just a nice long nose sports car. And as the generations continued to come out throughout the 80s and into 1991, Honda continued to refine the Prelude sports car, okay? Power would continue to climb, suspension technology would continue to climb, and styling began to get more and more refined. Kind of like that one kid that had a really weird aesthetic in middle school, but now in college is super rocking it, and you're still there wearing an Under Armour sweatshirt. As the Prelude began to grow in sales, the community around the Prelude and Civic grew with it in tandem. As the third generation of the Prelude needs a special mention because this is when Honda really began to develop the Prelude into a proper sports car. You have to remember that back in the 90s, this was back when every tuner or JDM manufacturer had more money than sense and what they knew what to do with. So Honda was one of those companies. It carried cues from the NSX, which was introduced at the same period. The four-wheel steering came in a Prelude, which was a massive success. It had a B201 engine and an even lower hood. The 1998 Honda Prelude 2-liter four-wheel steering would actually go to outperform every vehicle in a slalom test with its four-wheel steering system, beating Ferrari, Corvette, all right, and even Porsche. They even beat my boy 911, okay? Good on you, Honda. And this was something that Honda was really, really good at. And in the 90s, when all the Japanese manufacturers were competing at the same time, the Prelude was one of those cars you could jump into just like the Civic and not have to just lose your entire wallet. And during this time, Honda began tossing around serious cash at their vehicle development. They were pretty much loaded, okay? It makes sense. So when they jumped into the 4th generation in 1991, things started to get really serious, just like your first college one that you were really happy about. It worked out really, really well until you guys decided to go to different colleges and it didn't work out, you know? Young love, you know what I'm saying? I'm married, I made it through it, thank God. If I was single now, it'd suck. 4th generation is also when these cars truly started to get attention in the modification community because it was the mid-90s and everyone loved tuner cars. However, this was the generation that the Prelude finally made their first mistake, okay? They got rid of the pop-up headlights. It's really unfortunate. The 4th generation had your typical trims like the S, the SI, and even VTEC, which would crest the beautiful horsepower number to damn near 200. 200, son. That was a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, brother, that could do pretty much everything you could possibly want it to do. And at the same time, these generations started to see a ton of love from the mid-90s aftermarket companies like Vilside, Greddy, AEM, and all that sort of good stuff that you guys remember from the Fast and the Furious series, or maybe when you were before that, when you were going out on the internet trying to figure out how you could get parts from Japan to the United States. Plus, the Prelude was reliable. It was spacious. You could put stuff in the back seats, and you could still drive it every day and have a car that didn't leave you stranded on the side of the road. It was a weird thing that Honda was coming out with because they had the NSX, which was the super duper sports car killer. They had the Civic, which was just a banging car to have at the same time. And then you had a Prelude, which was a 2-door coupe with pretty much the same thing, and it was doing pretty well for its time, and against the competition, it really did okay. But then the Prelude started to lose itself to itself, like it was competing against itself, and Honda didn't play no games when it came to building cars. Their 6th generation Accord was doing great. The 6th gen Civic Si was cheaper than the Prelude, and the S2000 was more sport oriented and captured a higher end market. Where Prelude was left now was like the weird middle child, but didn't have any sort of extraordinary gift. It was just pretty much okay at everything. And from the ages of 13 to 18, the Prelude just felt invisible. And it just didn't really do very well in terms of overall performance of sales. As the car continued to go into the generations, it began to decline. So Honda gave it one last shot with their 5th generation Prelude, even though the company was aware it would ultimately get phased out to make space for the Integra. The 5th generation Honda Prelude would be made from 1997 to 2001. It would mark the era of the Honda Prelude sports car. It featured a square body style, a signature low hood, and standard 200 horsepower from 2 different trim options, depending on how much money you had in your wallet. Okay, well, the front end had a dated thing going on with it. It's a little bit to today's standards. The lifted rear end is still an iconic style that has become one of the go-to styling cues for a lot of short rear quarter panel sports cars. I mean, it's an absolute booty. I mean, it just has it. When nobody else has got it, Prelude's got it, you know what I'm saying? But we're not here to talk about the history of a Honda Prelude. No, you can save that for Mr. Richard's class in 7th grade, okay? We're talking about the fact of you wanting to own a Honda Prelude, okay? And why, I mean, we're done talking about why Honda phased it out, okay? I like the Preludes the most out of all of the generations in 1998, but that's just me. We're here to talk about you wanting to own a Honda Prelude. So you want one, all right? Well, set down your Motegis and grab your favorite IPA because we're about to jump into what it's like to actually own something like this. Honda Preludes have been a staple in the car community with their biggest impact in their last 2 generations. While the 1st generation sold way more than the last 2, the long-news Prelude of the mid-90s is pretty much what everybody remembers. It's what everybody knows. It's what everybody loves, okay? It's the specific Honda sports car. The 5th generation has the most modification support and some of the largest communities behind it. Because they are a late 90s JDM car, you can end up pretty much throwing whatever you want at it, whether that be Koenigs, Wed Sports, Work VSSSs, and pretty much anything else in terms of wheels. And for tame coilovers, you're pretty much set on some necks and tires. Throw some aero on this car and you're pretty much set to go. Really, the only other thing that you need on a Prelude is a clean paint job. Because these are a little bit older and because they were more mass produced, sometimes the paint just isn't that good on these cars. Throw all of that stuff together and you have a car that is hardly recognizable as a Honda. Reliability is there and there is absolutely no slouch in that department. Some of the biggest issues in the 5th gens though are the automatic transmissions.
When you try to put it in reverse, makes that noise.
But you're gonna wanna just generally stay away. Any 90s sports car, any of them at all, any of them that come with the 2-door, JDM, comes from Japan, stay away from the automatic trans. Just pro tip, always stay away from them because they tried to do so much in terms of tech and they just couldn't get it right, okay? They break every 100,000 miles, especially on the Preludes. If you're on the fence about picking one up, make sure you keep an eye on the weather stripping, the taillight decay, and all that sort of good stuff because these cars have a tendency to just leak water inside of them. Timing belts need to be done around 120K-ish, so maintenance records are still important. If this was a Doug video, I'd probably give the Prelude an 8 because Prelude slap, CEO of reliable sports cars. Honda. Truth be told, the Honda Prelude is a fantastic daily driver that can be your first step into the car scene. It's modifiable, it's forgiving, which is important for people like you know, and people like me that just really make dumb mistakes when we jump into the car scene for the first time, okay? They look sharp and parts aren't that expensive. They aren't the newest car in the world, nor are they necessarily the fastest, but they're a car that allows you to experience a fun, low hood, race car-esque experience that will put a smile on your face when you start throwing your first mods at it. All you have to do is stay away from the automatic. So what do you think about the Honda Prelude? Drop your comments below and don't forget to subscribe. And if you guys want another episode of this, let us know in the comment section what you want us to talk about. Because, you know, it took 74 renditions of somebody saying Honda Prelude for us to make the Honda Prelude video, and we did it, okay? It just takes a little bit of time. So maybe if we get the same Volvo comment for another 24 episodes or so, we'll probably drop one of those in there. And if you're looking for aftermarket wheels, tires, or suspension, be sure to check out fitmentindustries.com. By the way, the one guy that is saying Volvo, keep on keeping on, brother. I see you, okay? I'm Alex from Fitment Industries. We hope you enjoyed this video. We will see you later. Peace.